Hello, everybody. This is Noah and John, and it is Monday. So you're going to get your Brooklyn weekly market update. John, let's get right to it. I'm looking at Brooklyn supply 2649. Looks like it's going up a little bit. Show me that chart.
It is up a little bit. No, that's 1.2% if you're scoring at home. And first of all, it's good to be back, I suppose. We were gone the last couple of weeks on vacation, but here we are yet again talking about Brooklyn. And we missed last week, and last week was a big bump up in supply. And so I think, the overall market, if you talk about that over the big picture of supply in Brooklyn, it's starting to tick up. And, even though it's still about 20% down from where it was last year at this time, the idea that supply numbers are starting to move to the upside is a good thing for Brooklyn. It's been starved for supply, so this is a good thing to see. Even though it's just 1.2% on the week, it's the right direction.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's a small move up, but it's in the right direction. And we got to keep an eye on that because of all these macro changes that's going on right now. We got a 10-year interest rate that's approaching 3%. Mortgage rates are starting to get over 5%. So we'll see where that takes us in the next couple of months. Johnny, let's shift over to Brooklyn demand pending sales 3388. That looks like it keeps going up. Show me that chart.
It does. That's another 2.3% up. So if we just talk about supply up 1.2%, then pending's up 2.3%. Now you understand why it's so important for that supply number to kind of keep on coming in, because the longer pending sales stays elevated and increases, the tighter that market's going to get. And, when you have that really tight market, that's when weird, crazy things start happening. And we kind of don't want to see that. We'd rather see a balanced, healthy market going forward. So it's good to see these things moving up in relation to each other. But again, pending sales keeps on moving up in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very good point, Johnny. Thank you for pointing that out. And I just wanted to tell you guys, the market pulse at 1.28, that is just showing you we have more deals in contract pending than there is for supply active for sale, actively updated for sale. So as long as that number is in this range, it is going to continue to be a sell side biased market. So buyers, if you're looking for a break in Brooklyn, you're not going to see it until that number starts to fall. Let's go shift to the weeklies, Johnny, see what's going on over there. Brooklyn supply, 306 things came to the market. Show me that chart.
Yeah, and no, you're exactly right. That you're not going to see any relief until that number starts to fall. And you talk about, you're looking at this weekly supply number, and we're up almost 4% over last week. But compare where we are in Brooklyn this week to where it was the week ago, or the last few weeks, I suppose, in 2021. And even though we're at the peak of the busy season, we're actually approaching the peak of the busy season, right? It's the last 4 weeks have seen less weekly supply than we saw in 2021. So again, that's that bigger supply picture coming into focus here. So even at the weekly granular level, it's up, but it's still not quite where it needs to be.
Right. There's some work to do over there. Let's shift to demand. Contract signed 1 week, 230 things got signed in Brooklyn. That's up. Johnny, show me that chart.
Yeah. And again, the buyers are out in Brooklyn. They remain out. Over 200 contracts in Brooklyn. This is up, 10% or so from the week before, which admittedly was a bit of a quiet week. But it's the trajectory of Brooklyn contract signs is just up. Yeah. It's an upward trajectory. It's been that way really since the reopening of the pandemic. And even the pandemic was only just a brief blip in the ascension of the Brooklyn market. So it continues to keep on keeping on.
Yeah, and if I shift to the 1 month, because 1 week is not really a trend make, I like to look at net deficit or not net deficit of supply. I know Manhattan broke out of that net deficit and they've been net positive in supply for a few months now. That story changed. But when I look over here, we got 1,147 things that came on the market, and that fell. And if we look at what went off the market, we got 920, and then we got 301 off markets. You add those two together, that is more than what's coming on. So I know supply ticked up, but I'm wondering if the forces are going to still be kind of capped as to how high that goes, unless something is changing. And if something is changing, we're going to have another conversation, Johnny.
Right.
Time will tell what happens there. Let's shift on to the chart du jour. What do you got going on over here, Johnny?
Well, we're basically just looking at median sales prices. I mean, there's really nothing magical about this chart. We're just taking, break it down by property type, right? Townhouses are your blue line, condos are your green line, and your yellow line is co-ops. And this is just median sale price by month. And what I think is interesting about this, and does it get talked about? Yes, but I'd like to just drill down into it again, is we just kind of talked about how the Brooklyn market is just sort of doing its own thing and it's just on fire, essentially. But when you look at it this way, not all things are created equal here, right? The townhouse market's really powering this market, as is the condo, whereas the co-op market, which admittedly is not the same sort of class of property type as a townhouse, right? It doesn't have the space, it doesn't have the yard, et cetera, et cetera. It's it's on an upward trend, but it's nowhere near what we're seeing in the condo and the co-op market. So a note to buyers, a note to sellers in Brooklyn, it really depends on the property type you're selling. And I think that's what this chart shows. It goes without question. And then of course your own local market. So you really got to dig into your local dynamics to really understand, what to expect. And the reason I'm saying this is because if you just look at the sales volume, if you look at the prices, the median price for everything and the contract signs, you're gonna get the impression that, wow, Brooklyn's just unstoppable. But again, if you're listing a co-op and you're just throwing it up for 5% more than the recent comp store, you might have a difficult time. Whereas the townhouse, you may get away with it. You may get some bits. So just put that in the back of your head. Good thing to consider as you enter this market in Brooklyn.
Yeah, it's a great distinction to make. It's a great distinction to make, is that all these parts are not created equal. I love how you said that, Johnny. That is so true. Everything is local. Okay, if you happen to be in a condo building, that's going to be local to that building, that neighborhood, that sector. It's very clear that the townhouse market has been driving the Brooklyn growth. I guess I'm shocked that the co-ops are that lagging behind. I knew they were lagging behind, but I didn't think there would be that. The spread, again, I like to look at the spread. Look at the spread between these two, Johnny, for all this time. If you go back over here, it's kind of contained, and it's just been widening. And then this pandemic just completely blew that spread out. It makes sense looking at the makeup of properties in Brooklyn and the nature of the pandemic. But again, just to see it in a chart is just another thing. So thank you very much for dissecting all this data and giving us the Johnny Intel dissection breakdown of what this means. That's what we need, Johnny.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
It's a trisection, but I'll take it. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a trisection. Thank you for pulling up all that data. That is John Welcome. I am Noah Rosenblatt. We are both from UrbanDigs. Don't forget, you guys got questions. We got answers. Please visit our forum right over here. If you want any of the charts that Johnny created today, they'll be right over here for our premium subscribers. Other than that, this has been your weekly Brooklyn Markley update, and we'll catch you next time.